first met with Lucia and her husband, Jim, a fair number of years ago. I was the justice spokesperson for my party at the time, and I've met many families over the years who were seeking justice, seeking answers, as a councillor, as a TD, and today as a senator. And I can't think of ever having met a family where the depth of love for their lost loved one and grief was so intense. And it struck me so hard that day, and it has never, ever left me. And that's why we are here today, because Lucia O'Farrell and her family are never going to stop. Never going to stop until the full truth and the absolute calamity of our criminal justice system in regards to what happened and the circumstances that led to this are dealt with. You see, Minister, this was a whole of justice system failing. It wasn't just the failing of numerous members of An Garda Síochána from the front line to the senior management. It was a failure of our court system, of our prosecution service, of our communication of our nearest jurisdiction in the north, of the failure of An Garda Síochána even when they were contacted by the PSNI when Mr. Gradzewska was before the courts in the north, confirming address and criminal record. And indeed, the Garda Síochána did do that. Even then, the bells didn't ring. This was a whole of system failing. Therefore, to just leave this to GSOC is an abdication of responsibility by the government. This is a whole of system failing. The only way to get to the bottom of everything that went wrong is a public inquiry. And I'm proud to say, with Lucia looking on from the gallery, and her daughter was looking on at the vote earlier on, that the Dáil, the elected parliament of our people, today sent a clear message to you, Minister, that you need to call for a public inquiry, because this is a whole of justice system failing into all the circumstances that led to the death of Shane O'Farrell. It is quite devastating when you listen to the full array. Today, Lucia briefed a number of us before this statements, and she has it with her now, but we've seen it, a big long scroll that you have to hold above your head, outlining the catalogue of offences that this man was responsible for in his home country, in our state, and indeed in the neighbouring jurisdiction. Again and again and again and again he broke the law. And again and again and again he got away with it. And again and again and again it made a mockery of our justice system, our court service and our policing service. We can't bring back Shane O'Farrell. We can't restore the heartbreak that's been caused to Lucia and her family. We can't do that. But we can build a justice system that learns from its mistakes, that sorts out the grave failings within it. Failings of human beings, failings of systems, but failings in this case that led to a catastrophe for the O'Farrell family. Minister, you have to listen to the will of the people as voiced in our Parliament today in the Dáil. You have to listen to the voices in this House that are saying to you that, with all due respect to GSOC, and they have a role to play, this is not the role in this case. This needs a full public inquiry. Now I want to deal with GSOC. There are serious lessons for us. 6 years. 6 years to come to bringing this report. 6 years. And it's just not up to spec. It's terrible. There's no getting around that. It doesn't ask the hard questions of An Garda Síochána. It accepts their version again and again. It doesn't deal with the fact that the PSNI asked for the records, received the records from the Gardaí. No analysis there. That the vehicle was not seized. A vehicle with no insurance, no NCT, with a drug addict driving the vehicle and other drug addicts in the vehicle. And the vehicle's waved on. That again and again, the court's will is not implemented. And it's just accepted. No hard questions. You know, in politics we talk about sometimes somebody went on a TV show and got a soft interview. My God, this was a soft interview. What a shocking, shocking failure. We need to give more powers to GSOC, and we need to radically reform GSOC. That's the lessons from this episode. GSOC, anyway, as it happens, we're not the appropriate body because it's much wider than in Garda Síochána. As I say again, this is a whole of justice system calamity. Right? And I wonder about this because, as I said at the start, it never left me the depth of love and grief and determination and dedication that Lucia and Jim would have. And that's why we're here today. But I wonder about all the poor families, you know, because a lot of people in this country were brought up to believe in those with a uniform and those with authority and those with an education are betters, supposedly. How many poor families just accepted their lot, were overwhelmed by their grief, could not cope with their grief and let this go? How many other families never got to have their say? So, Lucia, on behalf of this House, I thank you, because your battle isn't just for your beloved son. Your battle is for all the families who were failed by our justice system, by our Garda Síochána on occasions, by our courts on occasions. So, Minister, you have a responsibility, and you can smirk all you like there. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to respect the will of our Parliament in the Dáil today, who gave you a democratic mandate to call a public inquiry. To call a public inquiry now into the full circumstances. To say to GSOC, you've done your first report, whatever work you have to do, but we're now putting this in the hands of a wider public inquiry because this is a whole of justice system failing. Not just a failing of An Garda Síochána, a whole of system failing. So, Minister, there's your responsibility today. And by the way, finally, the comments by Senator David Norris, I totally endorse. There was a conflict of interest in relation to the review mechanism. For God's sake, it would take a 5-year-old, never mind an eminent minister, to see that. So there's no point questioning and challenging Senator Norris on his rightful assertion there that any person would make. This thing is a calamity from start to finish. So the only response is a full public inquiry of all of the participants to come before it, all of the answers to be found, and justice to be done. And please, that families won't have to go through what their fathers have gone through already.
Thank you, Senator Mac Lochlainn. Senator Pádraig.